Right everybody, I thought I'd do a bit of an update video today. So I've got two caps coming, and one amazingly came the day after I ordered it. This was advertised as a Polish one, but I think this might actually be Czechoslovakian. The reason I think that is, I bought some caps because the weather's getting warmer. It turns out camo caps can be bought really cheap. It's got this symbol in it, the crossed swords, if you can see that. Crossed swords like that on the inside of the cap. Now, the reason I think this might be Czechoslovakian, I was looking through all the Polish camouflage patterns I could see, and I couldn't see one that matched that. But on this Czechoslovakian one that has the cool infrared stuff on, if you look on the inside of this, that's got the same cross swords on, so I reckon this is actually Czechoslovakian, not Polish, this cap. But I couldn't match it to any actual camo, either Polish or Czechoslovakian, but that doesn't mean it isn't. I've probably not looked hard enough. But yeah, if you know the name of this camo pattern, give me a shout, because that's actually quite interesting. So, as I said, weather's getting warmer now, uncomfortably warm some days, so I thought I really need to get some more caps to, keep my head from overheating. What I'm also going to get probably is one of those caps that has the stuff down the back, a bit like the Japanese had in World War II. I think the French Foreign Legion ones you can buy as surplus for about 10 quid. Or something similar that's new that just has the same, like side and back flap, so your head's kept properly in the shade. Now, something very interesting I did find on eBay was this camouflage shirt. Now, the seller thought it might have been Rhodesian, but he wasn't totally sure, and he said if it is Rhodesian, it's a reprint, not an original. This was only about £4 or £5 to buy. He didn't want much for it at all. So what I think it may be, though, is the Zimbabwe camouflage they had after it went from Rhodesia to Zimbabwe. So I was looking at lots of pictures of Rhodesians wearing camo, like CeeLo Scouts and stuff like that, and I don't think it is the Rhodesian one, because I think there's more like of an actual brushstroke on that. But from what I can see, and I could only find one or two pictures of this reference, the Zimbabwe camo after that one definitely looks quite similar to this. If it's not that, it's probably a Portuguese camo of some kind. There's no labels in it, so I can't, read a label and get some idea from that. But yeah, I thought this would be a fairly effective camo actually. What I like about this is, again, it's got no black in it, so it would be quite effective in that regard. It's basically a 3 or 4 colour camo. You've got this kind of beige tan colour, you've got your green, you've got your brown, and then there's bits where the brown and the green cross over and you've got a much darker brown. So yeah, it's like 2 shades of brown, a shade of green, and then I guess you could call that light brown or a tan or whatever, or beige. So I reckon this would be one of those good sort of almost like a multicam where the colours in it occur in most places, so it's not going to look out of place anywhere. Again, if you want to compare it to actual MTP multicam, you'll see the colours are not all that dissimilar across the two. So again, I think this is going to be a fairly versatile camo, and it'll be interesting to do camo tests on, because I've not seen many camos like that for sale in the UK. They're normally always like woodland ones or the desert camos used by a lot of nations, rather than actually being some of the more African based camos, which is actually quite interesting, because the sort of savanna grass, I guess you'd call them, camos are fairly interesting, that they're, like quite light shades. If you've ever watched the Wild Geese, what's quite interesting is that they have the old British DPM on that, which actually is lighter and I think better than the current, well, Soldier 95 is now updated as well, but the older British DPMs weren't apparently all that consistent in colour. But lots of nations that bought the rights to use DPM kept using the old ones, not the new one. Like the Dutch, where they use DPM, Dutch DPM is like what the old British DPM was like. And again, that seems to work really well in Africa. If you've ever seen pictures of people wearing that in Africa, it's a great thing. Another thing is, just to give you an update on this knife I got from Blades and Bows. This is the PBK, I think it was called something like Classic Hunter Knife or Classic Sheath Knife, something like that. This is really good. I've not done a proper testing video of it, which I really need to get round to doing when I've got enough stuff to stab and cut. But I've been using this pretty much, around the house as a regular, you can put this on your belt, as a regular kind of knife around the house, and this thing is amazing. Like, it's, I think, a 420 stainless blade, so it's not a carbon, blade or anything like that, but the factory edge on it's really good, and it's just one of those knives that just cuts everything insanely well. I was cutting pitch tape on the roof the other day of a builder, because we keep getting a leaking roof, which is a pain in the ass, so I have to keep going over there and putting more, you know, like pitch tape down, rearranging the tiles and stuff like that. And Stanley knives that are new have a hard time cutting that. This thing went for it but like butter. It was amazing. I've also been using this to cut, you know, like other random things and cut up cardboard, you know, especially when you get the thick cardboard that, as I've demonstrated with machetes, you actually have to hit it fairly hard with a machete to cut that cardboard. This goes through it like butter. So, yeah, this is an amazing little knife. If you've not got one of these, I definitely recommend you buy one from Blades and Bows. I'm almost tempted now to buy a second one myself, just because of how good this knife is, because I don't want to lose this and then have a hard time finding a knife like this as a replacement. I might put some paracord through there. I've got some paracord now, so I might put some more paracord through there. I've not bothered getting that out for the video, but I bought a 100 metre spool of paracord because last time I had paracord, I think it was like a 20 metre length one. That lasted me a couple of years making lanyards with it, but I thought, as on eBay, for about £8 you can buy 100 metres. That's probably the cheapest, best way of getting it. So, yeah. What you might see in the future, another one of the caps I bought, because this was the cap that turned up in a day that impressed me. The other one was a Swiss Alpenflage one. You know, that Swiss camo with red in it. I got an Alpenflage cap. This one's quite thin and, you know, cheap feeling. But it's, you know, perfectly good if you want a really lightweight cap, especially if you want to put it in a pocket. So, yeah, this is sort of interesting. I think it's going to probably have to sit on my head for a while to get reshaped. It is adjustable at the back. Because annoyingly I did have a Flecton cap, and now I actually want to find that again. I can't find it anywhere, so I did think about buying another Flecton cap, and then I saw that you could buy, you know, like 2 other different camo hats a bit cheaper, so I thought, rather than spending £6 on Flecton cap, I might as well buy this cap that was like £2 and the other cap that was like £2 or £3, you know. So, I said I will probably get one of those French Foreign Legion style caps as well, just for keeping my neck not burnt, because you can probably see already I'm looking a bit sunburnt from being out in the sun a couple of days in a row. But yeah, it should be fairly interesting. In regards to gas masks, I haven't bought any in a while. There's a couple I'm watching on eBay that have bids coming up on them soon, so if I'm able to get those at a decent price, you'll be seeing those. I won't say what they are till they turn up in case I don't get them, because one of them I think is going to go well out of my budget. But what I'm thinking of a gas mask as well is trying to find some of the more weird, obscure Chinese copies of other masks, because they do turn up from Chinese sellers on eBay. And as customs haven't stolen anything from me in a while, I'd be tempted to try and, you know, compare a Chinese rip-off of a 3M mask to an actual 3M mask, you know, something like that, to see if we can tell the difference. So that will all be coming up at some point. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this update video has been sort of interesting. I do like to sort of do these videos every now and again where I tell you what I'm sort of thinking of doing or what I've bought recently but I haven't got around to filming yet, rather than actually just doing a gas mask video every day of the week. Oh, before I forget, because I bought this, I have a Belgian military rucksack. It might need a bit of cleaning up. Looks like it's got a bit of dry rot or powder on it. But this is kind of one of those coated canvas ones, so it should be fairly waterproof, because if any of you remember, I said in another video that I wanted to set up a kind of rough sleeping bag in case anything ever happened, and I have like a go-to bag where I've got some fresh clothes in it, like water and rations and stuff like that. So this has got room on it for a sleeping bag and a, you know, like roll-up mat kind of thing. To be honest, I think if I was gonna rough sleep and I did it in the woods or something, you wouldn't really even need that as long as the ground isn't damp. Just lay on a load of sort of leaves and bush type stuff. But yeah, quite big capacity in here. I think it's about 45 or 50 litres. So I could keep a couple of canteens in there, a load of rations. I probably wouldn't bother putting a gas mask in here. I might have a, you know, satchel separately if I wanted that I've set up. But this should be good for you know, actually, as I said, setting up an emergency rough sleeping bag if I needed that, and then that would be quite good for that.